Hey there folks, it's me TheTacticalBrit, and I'll be bringing you some more Battlefield content soon, but every once in a while a game crosses my face that I end up playing batshit crazy for hours and upon hours on end. And this is arguably, in my opinion, one of my favourite releases of the year, and I had to tell you guys about it because, this isn't hashtag ad, but Jesus Christ, it's quite literally medieval Battlefield, and it's so much fun. And I nickname it Medieval Battlefield for good reasons, because although it doesn't have any first-person shooter elements like, weapons of mass destruction or M416s, it actually has a lot in common with Battlefield, both in terms of the game modes that they're providing, but more in terms of the sandbox environment that this game has created that is so reminiscent of what Battlefield was really good at doing back in the day. And in my opinion, this game is huge fun. I want to talk to you about it today and show you some clips as well. Now, this game is available on Steam on PC only at the moment, but hopefully it will come to consoles further down the line. They're a very small development team that's had a pretty huge amount of success that they weren't exactly anticipating, but ultimately, if I could describe it, imagine Chivalry, For Honor, and Battlefield had a small child in a sandbox environment. It's the spiritual successor of Chivalry for those of you who ever played that game, which is a sort of hack and slash medieval title, but this one is much more complex. There's an intricate fighting system, there are weapon emplacements, there is building fortifications, and there is of course the Battlefield Frontlines game mode. And there's a lot of Battlefield parallels here. You've got stationary weapons like ballistas and cannons and catapults. You've also got the ability to build defenses and destroy defenses. And, even sort of just in general, the movement's quite fluid. It feels very much like Battlefield's sandbox in a way, just in a medieval environment, which is hence the title. But it ultimately just does everything you'd want a hack and slash game to be, and it's very skill based. Now, there are times where you're going to run into 5 guys, everybody's swinging swords, and a lot of you are going to die, and it's not going to be very pretty. But in situations where you have sort of 1 versus 2, maybe 1v3 or 1v1 situations, this game really shines for intelligent combat systems, such as the ability to kick somebody's shield out the way, the ability to switch your weapon around, so you can have different variants, for example. So if you're using a spear, you can press R and that will make it a long-range spear, or you can use it in a close quarters situation. If you're using a sword, you can actually flip the sword upside down and hold it by the blade to use the handle to knock other people's swords and shields out of their hands with a brute force hit. And there's plenty of other things, all of the weapons in this game have statistics, all of the stamina stats are available, equipping certain things will make you slower and vice versa, and there's various different playstyles, like I say, in a sandbox game like Battlefield. You can be a fast up close and quarters kind of person, you can be a long range crossbow / archer, or you can be sort of a all round kind of person or a heavy. There are people who have, giant ass warhammers that just run into situations and do a madness. But those guys are slow and tend to be pretty easy to outmaneuver. But ultimately, and this is probably the most important thing, this game is outrageous amounts of fun. I bought it like a day or 2 ago. It's currently in early access, but I think I've played it for something ridiculous like 20-30 hours already. Like I had this game maybe on Thursday or Wednesday, I don't exactly remember. And every time I jump on to play it, it's just 4 or 5 hour stretches of good fun where 101 different things can happen in the same sandbox environment, which is exactly why I fell in love with Battlefield. No Battlefield game was the same. If you played one game of Conquest, it was very different to another game of Conquest. And in Mordhau, that situation is very similar. You'll have some games where it's just this brutal onslaught of war, and there's some other ones where it's just sort of like this clinical sword-to-sword battling. It's just really everything you could possibly want it to be in terms of a medieval game, and I just wanted to make a video about it today, I'll be honest with you. As much as I am a Battlefield and mostly FPS related person, I do really enjoy any game that's A, just fun, and B, has some kind of competitive element to it. I've actually been playing games like Splitgate recently as well, which is a bit more FPS, but it really did just deserve a shout out in my opinion. You know, you have this situation here where there is a class-based game where you can form your own kind of soldiers slash elites. You can sort of kit them up however you please and throw them into a battlefield and play certain playstyles in a very competitive way, because as much as this game is a hack and slash, people who get good with the combat system, when I first started off I was pretty trash. I eventually learned to do things like kicking off shields. I eventually learned how to fake a stab to make somebody block too early and then to rip their arm off. You know, it actually becomes this very intricate and fun competitive environment, and I really do enjoy it. It's a nice mix between just pure mad bastard shit going on in the game and pure competitive fun where you, if you are more talented, will beat the guy opposite you. And there's really weird situations as well, like a horse just legging it through a crowd and running over like 6 people, or a ballista shish kebabbing like 4 guys in front of you. The kind of sort of weird dynamic stuff you'd see in a sandbox environment like Battlefield, but in this medieval setting. And it really is a lot of fun, and I really hope you guys check it out. I just figured I'd make a quick video today and feature some of the content and feature some of the battles that I've had. There's a lot more to come in terms of FPS content, but today I wanted to make a quick one dedicated to Mordhau just because of how much fun I've had with it, in the hope that some of you guys who appreciate sandbox and competitive situations will enjoy it just as much as I have. So troops, thank you for watching this video today. As always, I will catch you in the next video, and yeah, hopefully you guys give this one a good check.